All
for
right.
our future bloopers.
Well, this again is not us. He was here, and
I told you to blame technology.
we don't have to make it up. It's clearly technology failing. Facebook is laughing because this time it's not them.
Nope. And there's no music riots or anything like that. It's just, I told you to introduce him first.
Yeah.
Guest first, otherwise they drop out.
He's in his office, so
He
he should
should bounce back in a second,
back
I'm
in.
guessing.
Pardon?
Anyway, he should bounce back in a second.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get that bat storm yesterday or?
Yeah, we got it. I took some video of the sky. The skies here in North Texas are incredible.
Oh, dude, well, mine was, besides incredible, scary. I don't know how that didn't turn into a tornado at my place.
Uh,
'Cause I went outside and there were like two different layers of clouds, and they were going one, the top one was going one way, the bottom one was going 5 times as
yeah.
fast the other way.
I mean, the skies in Mexico are beautiful. I've never seen skies like this anywhere in the world I've ever been. It's like you're saying,
Yeah,
it looked like something out of a science fiction movie.
it
It's
was crazy, man.
never seen it. It's sort of hard to. That's why I took video for my family members that aren't here.
I'm texting him.
Yeah.
I'm texting Eduardo.
But no, fortunately, just a short, an intense rainstorm, but no damage that I'm aware of over here.
Yeah,
Um,
one of my guys, friends from the office, he did have a tree fall on his shed and water softener and whatnot. He's like, what's crazy? And he's like, you can see it in the good side or the bad side.
or both.
He just built a new home office, and the whole
Uh,
plan was designed to go around this tree and the branches and whatnot. Now the darn tree falls over a week after he finished the office, but it fell
oh
the other
man, that's
way, so it
harsh.
didn't damage the office. But he's like, dude, if this had happened before, I could have built the darn thing,
Yeah, that's harsh. I'm
whatever
gonna
it
have a
was.
buddy. What was it? One of the big hurricanes that hit Orlando, I think 3 years ago. He literally just bought the house, moved in, and like the weekend he moved in, major damage to the house from a hurricane. So it's Mother Nature's starting to get her licks in there here and there.
It's crazy. When I moved to this into this house, it was less than 5 months before I had to replace the roof.
That's also pretty extreme.
Yeah, I've replaced the roof in this house 3 times already.
And how many years? Remind us.
12,
That's too often. That's ridiculous
12,
when you think
13.
about it. So
Yep.
basically, you have to alternate between buying a new roof and buying a new car.
Yeah.
Yeah, the car lasts longer than the roof.
There's
It's
Eduardo.
crazy.
Let's see.
Quickly.
You're muted. Eduardo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Don't leave us now.
I know. I don't know what happened.
All right.
That's
We're going to introduce the guest first so he doesn't get mad and leaves us. Anyway, this is Success Paradigms. We have Eduardo Medellin from Infinity Management. And my name is Emilio Garcia. And with me, as always, is Mr. Andrew Barker.
happy to
And
be
this is
here.
the show about success and what success means and the paradigms. And success means different things to different people. So some of our guests are going to be very successful in business, in life, in careers, in different ways. But today we have one that's actually very successful business-wise. Eduardo and I actually met Eduardo, I think, through one of your events, Andrew,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. And we've actually made a good relationship. We've been friends for a couple of years. We've got a couple of projects actually between the three of us that have been in the works. And then obviously COVID helped us out with throwing us that curveball, and uh, we'll see if we can do something here soon. But let's get started. Eduardo, tell us a little bit about where you grew up.
I was born in Mexico City. My parents moved to Acapulco, Mexico, when I was about 11 years old. So I went to middle school, high school there. And then I moved to San Antonio where I went to college.
Okay. So you were Acapulqueño, costeñito,
Acapulqueño, yes, a lot of beach and a lot of water.
and a lot of I don't want to know about the partying on the
I
weekends with
know.
tourists.
A little bit of that. A little bit of that.
Yeah, the tourists down in Acapulco, they don't party much.
No, they don't.
Anyway, so how old were you when you moved up to San Antonio? Was it before college, after college, for college?
Before college. Before
Okay.
college. So it was. I was about 21 years old. So, and I was lucky because that's the time that at the year that they changed um, the age to start drinking to 21. So I was right there. So I was okay.
Oh,
I was already 21, so I was okay there. I was 21, so I went to San Antonio. The reason I went there is because my older brother was already there. He had already graduated. He was finishing his master's, and so the natural place to go was where he was.
right.
So
Yeah.
I went to San Antonio, went to St. Mary's initially. Um, couldn't finish there because of the uh, affordability, and so I moved to UTSA, where I graduated with accounting and information systems.
Okay. Oh, IT as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Double
that's
threat.
why I'm a little good with computers and processes, especially with processes.
Well, if you're good with computers, I know someone in this call that can use your help more often than not. Anyway, so okay, so you get to San Antonio and you start college and you did two different majors. How long were you in San Antonio? What was life like? Did your parents come with you? Your parents stayed back?
No, just me. Then my brother moved to Dallas actually. After a year that I was there, he moved here to Dallas. I stayed down there just by myself, really, just by myself, and went through the 5 years. It took me 5 years because of the double major. Um,
Yeah, it took
and
me five, but I only did one.
yeah, I know.
Actually, it took me more than five, but anyway,
That's a
I
different
divert.
conversation. Yeah, and actually, I finished college, and it was very tough market at the time. I remember being above 12% unemployment,
Wow.
so it was pretty bad.
So pretty
So
much like right now. Well,
yeah, even worse, maybe a little worse,
a little
maybe
bit
a little
worse.
worse. So I always remember that because the paying salaries and all that was very low, and you were just glad that you had a job.
Yeah. So did you always want to be in IT and accounting, or
Yeah, I'm good with numbers, so I kind of figured that I was going to be there. I was going to be doing something in accounting and finance, accounting, finance. And the IT background, it just a little bit helps with small companies. So you can kind of get a little bit of the systems and the processes in place to be able to make the accounting a little bit more um, automated.
okay? Well, that probably helps a lot now, especially nowadays that everything is going electronic, invoices and billing and collecting and everything.
Yes, I agree with you. I mean, it just that's the way to go because the old days is no longer valid. It
So
just takes
you
too
were apart,
long.
and so you said San Antonio, and then how did you get to Dallas?
Well, it's funny
He chased
because
his
I got a
brother again.
job. I got a job. The first job I got was with a food service company that was starting a joint venture in Mexico City. So actually, my first job, I worked there with the idea that they were going to move me to Mexico City,
Wow.
and I worked there for a year, and then got married, moved to Mexico, and then I got back to Dallas when I came back from that Mexico, the devaluation back in the '96, the big devaluation that closed the joint venture, and then I moved to San Antonio, and then I got a job here in Dallas.
Do you remember by any chance what was the dollar peso exchange rate back then?
Oh,
Oh yeah,
We
it
had
was. It went from 3 to 12.
but with a
What is
couple
it
more
now?
zeros, with three extra
Well, yeah,
zeros.
it was actually 3,000, and it went to 12,000, and then they dropped the zeros.
Yeah, and
Um,
they said this is getting ridiculous. Drop three zeros and call it the new peso.
Yeah, so it was pretty bad because it went 4 times as much on the exchange rate, and I was working for an American company that was bringing products into Mexico.
Hmm.
So there was no way that they were going to be able to survive.
Yeah,
So we had to shut it down. We shut it down, and then I came back with the same company, and then I moved on from there.
okay.
I mean,
All right.
international
Well,
business is trickier.
what's
Definitely.
that?
International business is trickier than only business. It's not domestic
Well, yeah.
only business times two. It's domestic business squared, or it's to
Oh,
some
and yeah,
factor. It's
back in the
not just
day when I
simple.
was doing the auditing or handling operations in 12 countries down in Latin America, that was something that was weird because we would get a budget and all of a sudden our budget was double because the company
Yeah,
was US based and they wanted it in dollars. I'm like, yeah, but we gave you a local goal, which was a stretch, but it was achievable. Now we just doubled or tripled that.
yeah,
Like, yeah, well, okay, figure it out. I'm like, oh God. So, so I can understand the pain. Yeah.
yeah. It was a great opportunity, though. That was my master's. That's why, kind of, when I went there, I learned a lot, and it was kind of like a growing business. And then we had to shut it down. I was the one putting it into a box and getting it to somebody else. But so that was my MBA. That's why I didn't go for an MBA afterwards or anything. I mean, that was a great experience, and I got to work with a pretty big group in Mexico, Grupo Gutsa, Gutierrez Cortina, and pretty big group. So it was a lot of fun.
Well,
That's
that
cool.
that experience may become very valuable in the next months and quarters. With all the companies here in the U.S. After COVID, that whether they call it a restructuring or not, or whether they call it a bankruptcy or not. I mean, they've
Right,
got
the
some painful work.
turnaround. Somehow everybody's going through a turnaround, right? I mean, or
Right.
adjustment. So yes, that helps. Being kind of have those painful moments where you don't know if you're gonna make payroll and those kind of things. So yeah, I agree with you. There is a big opportunity coming up, probably in the next, beginning of next year, probably. So there is going to be a lot of need for that.
Yeah.
And uh, have your clients come to you and ask for help with these PPP loans and other assistance, business assistance?
Oh yeah, all the time. So because at the beginning when they started talking about it, it was very complicated. But then they started opening it up, and then all the funds were gone. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of stress. So yeah, I helped probably about half of my clients. The other half, maybe they didn't need them. And I probably helped another 10 people that were not my regular customers,
Nice.
just to be able to, navigate through all that and the paperwork and all the other stuff. And now the PPP is no issue, right? I mean, it's quick application, funds are there. But before it was very stressful because nobody knew what was happening
Yeah.
or what
So
was
I've
going to
heard
happen.
that now that you touch on the PPP, I've heard rumors that they may have a second round coming up of stimulus and of PPP, right?
Well, there's still money available for the PPP and the
Right.
disaster loan. So there's
Right.
still money available. So if you apply for either one of them,
Well, I already got both of them, but
Oh,
uh,
good.
someone told me that even if you got it, since it has gone a lot longer than we thought it was going to, people would be able to do a second round.
they haven't said anything. I think it's going to depend on how much money is still available.
Yeah.
And I
And I
agree. I mean,
think
they still.
also, yeah, it's still a mess. They still don't know about the PPP, the repayment or not, and how do you justify so that it becomes a grant, the
Well,
forms.
so far, what they have is they have said that up to 150,000 all of it is, if you got a loan less than 150,000 on the PPP, it's going to be forgiven just by answering a question saying,
I
yes, I
used
used
it
the funds
for,
in the right way.
yeah,
But
that's
they
what I
still
heard
don't
as
have
well.
the rules.
And I should have
So,
requested a bigger one.
well, it was capped. That was the problem, only on your payroll.
Yeah,
So,
I know. But being a self-employed, you actually do it with your 1099, but you also take out your expenses and whatnot to kind of make it
correct.
realistic. Uh, I would have taken less expenses out.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, just think about it, how many loans they have given out.
Oh,
I mean, it would be very complicated to do the equation and all that to see how much could be forgiven and how much will have to be repaid and those kind of things. So I have a feeling that they're probably going to go a little higher than that to be able to forgive the loans. And actually, that's what they want. They actually want to forgive the loans.
yeah.
The
Well,
disaster, though, the disaster is you have to repay it.
yeah, the disaster you do, but put me on your list if there's ever a second round of PPP.
Definitely. I mean, I'll pass the information around as soon as they have it. And like I
Yeah,
said, it's probably going to be based on if there's still more funds available.
right. Yeah, and for me it was clear actually. I mean, this is a separate note, but I actually changed banks because I was at a couple of the big ones, and they wouldn't even give me the light of day. I mean, not the time of day. They wouldn't talk to me, and I applied and everything, never heard back. And then a local bank, a regional bank, a friend of mine from the office applied, and he said, "Dude, I got it in 24 hours." I was like, "Can you give me the contact of the guy?" He gave me the contact. We went through the paperwork. It took us 2 days to do the paperwork, and like 2 days later, the funds were in my account.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
in
know
a
if you
new
have.
account that I opened with them, and now all my other accounts on the larger bank are gone. I moved everything to this guy's.
Yeah, and that was one of the problems. I think Wells Fargo was the worst one, the worst offender. They
Well, I
still were
didn't want to
getting us.
say names, but Chase never even responded to my inquiries.
No, and it's true. I mean, what happened is the reps, they were taking care of their biggest clients.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's kind of like, hey, we're gonna give money away, so you started lining up your clients right before anybody else.
yeah,
So that's what created a couple of problems. But
yeah.
it's
And we were a
interesting.
small client versus what's out there.
I don't know if you guys have seen the commercial, the new Amegy commercial that they talk about Christina's Mexican food.
Oh, really? No.
They're talking about the PPP because the guy comes in and thank you for helping me and this and that, and I met him one day and got the paperwork the next day and got him approved and the money the next day.
Wow.
So it's kind of, they don't say that it's the PPP.
Yeah, but we're not Christina size.
No, no, no. But I mean, it's kind of, they're making it, now an issue
Right.
that they take care of their clients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
but I'll let
well.
you know. I mean,
So we kind of went without noticing. We went into the next part of it, where it was how has COVID affected you and your family and your business. Uh, we already answered the question of the business. You're probably thriving in this business, helping clients go through the through process. What about your family, your wife, your daughter? You have one daughter, right?
I have one daughter. Yeah, everybody's fine. I mean, it wasn't too bad because having just one daughter and my wife at home, it wasn't too complicated to work from there. So I mean, it really did not create a problem. It did create it a little bit more of a supervising, a little bit more work supervising because of the people remotely, the
Right.
people working remote, and there's some that you can trust working remotely, and some that you cannot.
Right.
So keeping those guys.
Talking about you, Andrew.
There's some you can't even trust in the office, let alone virtually.
Exactly. I mean, some you can't even trust them, while you're watching them.
Yeah.
But that was the only issue. I mean, for the most part, everybody came back. Just one person didn't come back, but she's still working remotely, so it works with her. So no, business-wise was okay. Family-wise was okay. Kind of got a little tired after a couple of months of being at home, but other than that, it was
I
okay.
know that gets brutal.
It gets because you become available for your wife and kids. They see you
Yeah.
there and they say, "Hey, Dad, can you do this? Can you do that?" Like, I'm working.
Yeah, no, they know that. At least I've worked from home in the past, so they know if my door is closed, they'll just it's French doors and it's glass, so they'll come up and just pick in, and if I do like this, they just walk away
Disappear.
and send me an email or a text, and then we'll figure it out. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, so what are outside of that? And I know most of the hobbies and sports and stuff like that right now are kind of on hold. What would you say your hobbies and sports are?
The one that I miss the most is going to the gym, and I have to say I'm a little afraid of going to the gym. I used to go quite a bit, and it's one of those situations where you go and say, I don't know if I want to use the same machine as everybody else.
Yeah,
I know they clean them and all that, but I haven't gotten to that point yet.
yeah, that's
I've
my
been playing a
excuse.
lot of outdoors tennis. I play a lot of tennis,
Right, I remember
so I
that.
have been substituting the tennis for the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too hot outside, and I'm like you. I don't want to use the equipment that others have used, so that's my excuse. That's why I'm not working out. What about you, Andrew? What's your excuse?
Actually, I remember in LA Fitness, and well, like all the gyms were open for a while and closed for quite. And then LA Fitness here in Dallas, anyway, reopened, but they didn't open the locker rooms or the showers.
Oh,
I was like, let me get this straight. I'm supposed to go work out
Yeah,
and then get in my car without taking a shower. I mean, I will speak for myself. I can't do that. I don't do that. I plan my workout to guarantee I finish. If I'm only going to work out 20 minutes to make sure I have time for a shower, then I only work out 20 minutes to ensure I have time for a shower, right?
right.
Like that, there's no way that works. That's no way that works for me.
Yeah, and I'm actually also a member of their gym, and what I like to do when I go, and Eduardo and I talked about this a lot, is racquetball. Well,
yeah.
that's one that's
Okay,
not going to be
yeah.
working. Get
I
cooped up
don't
in a
know. I
glass
can tell you
box.
they did. They did. I checked. I followed up with them last week, and they told me they have reopened the locker rooms and the showers here in Dallas. I don't. I didn't ask about racquetball, but
Yeah, don't worry.
but to your point, I've gotten used to working out in the garage at home, and to your point, I've
In the
done
garage, you probably
probably
sweat
one.
3 times as much in the garage.
Yeah, but
It's
the
That's
good.
good.
shower
That's a
right
good thing.
afterwards. Yeah,
Very cool.
garage is hot, no doubt.
All right, so let's change a little bit pace here, Eduardo. When you started your own business, when was that? Because you told us you worked for a company, take you back to Mexico, they shut down, you moved back to San Antonio, but at some point you started your own firm. You're very successful, you have really big clients now, but how did that transition happen? Did you just cold turkey and start your own business, or?
Yeah, unfortunately, because when I came back to Dallas, I actually worked for two companies, and I was being the controller and the IT guy. So then September 11 came about and really hit everybody. So we had to sell the book of business for the company that I was working for, and that was so I started searching for a job right before September 11. And I can tell you, I mean, I couldn't get a job as a bookkeeper for $8 an hour. I
Right.
couldn't. I mean, I was able to get commitment for 20 hours a week at 750. That's all I had.
Wow.
So I started the business. I said, hey, it's not gonna work. So might as well start a business. So I started the business in 2001. So I started having a few, then in a period of time for about 3 years, I had one client that occupied about 80% of the time. But then after that, I really got it going on a consulting basis on a more clients and all that probably back in 2005. So from five to now, I've had it's been a accounting firm.
Okay.
So you just
But
have to
it's
be
also
committed.
accounting and planning, right? Strategic planning.
Accounting and consulting. Consulting in the sense that, you know, for some of my bigger clients, I'm their controller, CFO type of person. For the smaller clients, I'm their accountant. I do sales tax, payroll tax, all that kind of stuff.
You need help. I know a CFO. Some
Yeah, I know.
Or,
No, and we've been talking about it and trying. Actually, we're trying to get the next step where we can have a little different consulting company for small clients. So that's something very interesting that we're putting together. But it's just more of, in order to get your business going, you just have to be committed because it's not going to be easy. It's
yeah.
not going to be easy. You're going to go ups and downs all the time. And Andrew can attest to this. You know, sometimes you have nobody as a client, and then you start selling, and then you get two clients, and then you can't sell anymore.
Because
And then
now you
one
have to
goes
do the
away,
work.
and so it's kind of the swings between, you know, all the time trying to sell and get, trying to sell and get. So it's just
Absolutely.
about being committed and understanding what your profitability is more than anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we are trying to do, since nowadays small businesses are bigger in the sense that less people can do more, then a lot of the services are coming about because of that. So there's still small businesses, but they're selling 40 million a year, for example. So they're not small in the sense that they're selling quite a bit, but they're small because they still family organized or they only have 20 people and all that. So
Mhm.
these guys are more open to having somebody to give you accounting and consulting at the same time.
That's very cool. Yeah, and the three of us really need to brainstorm on that idea we had. I think it's been a year at least. Well,
Oh, it was
now that
pre-COVID.
what's that?
It was pre-COVID.
Well,
COVID.
pre-COVID is seems to be a year already, man. I don't. We were talking today in a meeting. We're like, hey, do you realize that COVID started like at the beginning of the year in March, and we all thought it was just the beginning of the year, and it feels like we're still there, but we're actually in Q3. It's like,
Yeah, if you think about it, it's been
dang
close
it.
to five. It's gonna be 6 months here pretty quick.
Yeah, it's already 5 months from
Yeah,
for me since I've been locked in the house. It's been 5 months.
yeah.
5 months on. So anyway, all right. So tell us a little bit about. Did you have any mentors? What was? We already talked about. You really had a struggle when you started looking for a job after 9/11, and then the struggles of up and downs. But how long did it take you to have a company that was kind of stable?
Well, it probably stable. You kind of have different stages of being stable because then you get stable and then you bring more employees and then you get to the next one and bring more employees.
Right.
But I've been profitable probably for about, I want to say if I started in 2005 with just, separate clients, probably by 2012. So probably about 7 years. It took me about 7 years to really get it to where it didn't matter if one client went away, if I got another client, if I got more employees and all that. So probably took a good 7, 8 years to get to that point.
Okay.
And what has happened since then is reinventing ourselves, trying to do more with less, trying to be more support, advisory support for clients, So yeah, thank God we've been profitable since
Yeah.
there then. But it just takes consistency, day in
Mhm.
and day out. You have to get up. You have to get up and go.
Whether
So
you want
that's
it or
the
not.
main
Yeah.
thing for anybody that is listening. If you're committed, you're committed, and there's no going back. You have to do it, and the environment allows you to do it. So the economy, the good thing for us is when the economy is good or is bad, then they hire us. If it's constant, then nobody
They
even
don't,
talks
because they
to us.
don't see a value.
They don't see a value and they don't care. They're doing okay, and those kind of things. So companies that are stable, that's not our clients. Our
Yeah. See,
clients are up and down.
for me, a lot of times is when it goes down, that's where they hire you. Because when
Well, and
everything's
also when
going
they
up,
go up, because when the problem with going up is you can go up too fast,
yeah,
or you can grow and not
not on
have the
my business.
structure, not have the structure to support it.
Right.
I mean, either way, I mean, down or up, you can go bankrupt in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
that
And they never, it's really rare that they understand that on the going up phase. They sort of almost common sense going down, but going up, like, how can I go bankrupt if I'm selling more? But then you have to walk them through it. Then they're like, oh, okay.
yeah,
So,
because
Emilio, in your case,
the problem with
yeah,
going up is you have more expenses too.
Mm-hmm.
So if at some point you're not able to cover it, then you're in trouble.
yeah,
So that's what has been the case lately. That I have a couple of clients in the construction industry,
uh,
and the construction industry has gone ballistic, in the last year or so, 2 years. And the problem with that is this risky business, very risky. So although you can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money too. So you just have to be careful, and that's why clients hire us, just because of the fact that, hey, if I don't hire him, I may be spending on other things that are not going to bring any value. And
Right.
the other thing that we bring to the table is the control, right? I mean, hey, why are you spending this much here? Why are you spending this much there? You need to be careful with this and so forth. So if you show them that, then they listen to you.
and
Cool.
you have the advantage also for that you're a native Spanish speaker. So,
Correct. Habla español. Yes.
Sí, habla español.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of successful, very successful Hispanic people. I mean, very, very successful. I
yeah,
mean, people that
yeah.
maybe they didn't even finish elementary school, but they're very smart. They're very committed. They're in the business, and so
Business savvy.
that's a market that
Yeah, they're
we got for
hardworking and business
ourselves.
savvy.
Yeah.
So, Emilio, in your case, it's great when because it's great when it's going down, but not when it's going up.
Well, when you talk about investments, if everything's going up, no one needs an advisor. But then all of a sudden, when things are going down, it's like, oh crap, I need someone to help me. Especially when, and again, I can't get too much into the details, but years like this year, where it's been just a roller coaster and we lost 30, 40% of the market in 1 month, um, when most of our clients were down maybe 5 to 10% and they're already up. I mean, I was talking to one of my clients and he's up 24%. He's like, dude, you go do it. But whenever everything's been going up for 6 years like crazy, it's like I can pick my own stock. They all go up. So it's a little bit of
It's interesting because I can't think of too many other businesses that are like that. That actually, it's easier to land clients only when things are tougher.
well, and it's more on the market itself because then they start learning that there's different tools and different systems, and some have protection guarantees, a manager. It's not just put your money there and ride it and see what the market does. There's strategies out there that you can put your money in different baskets with different tools, bells and whistles and whatnot, and uh, at the end of the day have better results. But a lot of those products or strategies have to be done with an advisor, and that's where people are like, well, I don't want to pay an advisor fee if everything's going up. I can go up. So it's both ways. I do a lot more on right now, as we were talking about the corporate side with the financial education and all that. So that also helps. And again, on the bad side is when the markets tumble and your employees are losing their shirt on their 401ks and stuff like that. That's when the companies are at risk of getting lawsuits and whatnot because they didn't get the education or the advice or the management or whatever it is. So that's where people get more alert on, oh crap, we probably need someone to take care of this. As Eduardo said, instead of spending that money somewhere else, putting it where something's going to protect us, and it's going to make you, at the end of the day, more profitable because your employees are going to be more productive in the day in, day out if they're not concerned about credit card debt or losing money in the market or whatever it is. They don't spend time doing that. They spend more time being productive. But anyway, that was kind of a spin. It's
interesting.
my commercial. It's Eduardo's.
It's interesting because not too many businesses do better when there's increased volatility. So that's interesting.
Yeah. All right, Eduardo. So what's coming up for you guys? What's your view in the next couple of years of your business?
I think it's going to get, I'm expecting quite a bit of competition because there's going to be layoffs. There are going to be layoffs, and there are going to be accountants being laid off. There are going to be accountants that are not going to get rehired. So they're going to have to start their own business.
Right.
So I do foresee a lot of tax preparers next season.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of tax preparers. Accountants, maybe not as many, but tax preparers for sure, because it's very, accounting is one of those trades that you can pick up pretty quick. So I expect that. I do expect some other competition, especially in the Latino market. Unfortunately, the Latino market has always been underserved. So it's going to continue being underserved because there's going to be a lot of people trying to do that. I see competition. I do see a lot of companies doing very well. I have already seen it where, you're talking about the PPP repayment or not, or the forgiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of my clients, the biggest clients, I have done an equation where they're going to repay that money through taxes.
Okay.
So because that money, you erase all the expenses and all that, you're going to have to pay it. And because of the profit, a lot of my clients, it's funny because a lot of my clients are, the equation, the estimated tax is about the PPP.
They're just going to get more
So
profitable.
if they took 250, their tax bill is going to be 250.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty interesting. So there are a lot of companies, furniture industry, doing very well. Even there's not enough supply.
Yeah, can I jump in on furniture? How much of that is related to if you have any feedback or feel, to the U.S. tariffs on imported, furniture and wood products from China?
No, that was okay because they actually went up 25%. And what happened is the U.S. part took 12.5 increase, and the manufacturer is 8 to 12.5, so half and half. But no, the problem actually was the COVID shutdowns.
Okay.
Because they already have moved a lot of the manufacturing to be assembled here. So a lot of the plants in Tupelo, Mississippi, for example, where they used to be forever, they started operating about 4 years ago, and they couldn't keep up with the demand. And the stimulus check, helped that because, if I'm getting
Wow.
twelve hundred
People went
dollars,
shopping.
$400, I don't want
This
to
is
spend it in the
fascinating.
groceries, right? I want to go buy furniture. So furniture companies are doing very, very well. They can't even keep up with the inventory.
That's fascinating. Wow.
So that's one. And so I think there's going to be industries like that. They're going to be, for example, the hotels. I don't see them coming back up anytime
No,
soon.
they're in trouble.
The investors, the real estate investors, is going to
Yeah,
have they're
commercial
going to
real
have a hard
estate's
time. They're going to have a hard time. But there are going to be other services that are going to be okay. Restaurants is kind of iffy. 50 are going to go out. The other 50s are going to they're going to thrive. So I think there's going to be a disruption in the next 2 years to before it kind of gets back into normal. But there's going to be a big winners and big losers.
Yeah.
So on our
Tech,
end, what we're
tech is
trying to
also
do
going to
is
be, tech is also a big, big winner.
tech
I,
is also
I
a big
tried to
winner.
buy a laptop a couple of months ago, and they said, "Yep, that's the only one we have. And if you want to take it now, because it's going to be gone, and we don't know when we're going to get more." And if you think about it, every school is now virtual,
Correct.
so they all
to
need.
your point, my son and I went to Micro Center a couple of weekends ago.
Mm-hmm.
Afternoon, I could not believe it was packed. I mean, it was as full side as they could have allowed, given and so taking account for all the safety issues with COVID. But then there was a long line outside. I mean, yeah, it's impressive.
Yep, it's different.
Yeah, so your winners. There's some that are the winners. I don't think that the tariff from China or for China are affecting the economy. It's just more of you know certain products that are selling very well and certain products that are not selling at all. I
Right.
mean, grocery
That's
stores are doing great. Grocery stores, Walmart, Kroger,
Oh
all
yeah.
those guys are. I mean, they're through the roof.
Yeah.
So gas, oil, and gas,
Not so good.
they're not so good. They're finally getting to $43 a barrel.
Yeah.
But if you remember, they were joking that it was a cent per barrel.
Well, there was actually a day that the futures were negative.
They were negatives. So they had the joke that you go into 7-Eleven and they say, I don't have any change. Do you want a gum or a barrel of oil?
Yeah. Or you want a tank of gas.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a couple of clients down in Houston in the oil industry, and they were shocked. It was like they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, at
But
least they're
anyway,
breaking even now. They're making a little bit of money or breaking even at least now.
yeah.
So
And
good.
actually, that's one thing that they did say. Part of it was going to be the resurgence of the U.S. oil versus the Russian and Arabic and all that area, because the US based companies were strong enough to sustain this. And at the worst point, a friend of mine, a client of mine at ConocoPhillips, he said, well, right now, the way it is, we're breaking even, maybe even making a little bit of a profit. So if we can sustain that, once it bounces back, we'll be good. So that at a point made me feel good, but it also made me think, how darn profitable are you normally then?
Well, imagine, they're at 40, 43 and they're barely making a profit. So when they're 50 and above, they're making a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But, in my opinion, I look forward to the time where it's back to $2 per gallon because that's what it needs to be. I mean, I remember way back when 99 cents a gallon is like, there
Oh,
is no way. Yeah,
that was almost in April.
exactly. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's no way.
And then 10 years ago, it was almost $4 a gallon.
Correct. So if we get to $2, everybody's making a little bit of money, economy's doing well, and so forth. Nobody
Consumers
has
still
to
can
do the
travel and use the car and whatnot.
surcharges.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah. All
So I
right.
think it's going to be a little bit of rocky next 2 years, depending on the industry that you're in.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to do very well.
Yeah.
Rentals, no way. House rentals, none of the real estate is complicated.
It is. But that's why we have people like you guys
Yep.
to
Thank
help
you.
us navigate.
Yeah, and we're
That's
trying
awesome.
to do more of the consulting services that we were talking about, offering services to smaller clients on a retainer basis that can be affordable, that can give you that support for, having feedback, having professionals help you out, either if you're going up or you're going down.
Yeah. Yeah. The three of us need to get lunch or a beer or something, social distancing or whatever, but we really need to get working on
Yeah.
that stuff because I think there's a lot that needs to be done and there's obviously a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, this has been amazing. It's been
This
as
has been
always,
interesting.
Andrew,
Thank
we
you.
just went a little bit far, a little bit longer than we wanted, but
Well,
these
yeah,
conversations just get good, man.
yeah,
I agree. I
this is
enjoyed it.
stimulating. Thank you guys.
Yeah, we'll
Enjoyed
have
it.
to have again the second round. Seems like everyone we have, almost everyone, we're gonna have to do a second
Yeah,
part.
and it's
So
going to be fascinating to look back on these as almost time capsules
in a
and
year or two, yeah, definitely.
see how much we learned from the judgment calls we made, analyzing very noisy information, volatile.
And it's gonna be fun to see your
Fascinating.
hairline reciting as well.
Yeah, and this
Yeah. At least,
Dude, I
Nancy
told you
and
it's
I,
a
we don't
virtual
have that problem.
background.
We don't have that problem.
hey man,
No, Eduardo and I are
don't
okay.
worry about it.
Yeah, we're okay. We don't have that problem.
You guys are good. You guys are good.
Anyway, all right,
you.
guys,
This is fun.
we gotta say goodbye and respect everyone's
Yeah.
time. So thank you for being here. This is
Thank
Success
you.
Paradigms with Emilio Garcia and Andrew Barker. And we had the honor to have Mr. Eduardo Medellin from Infinitum Management with us today. Keep posted and
Thanks,
we'll be
Eduardo.
back next week. We're live on Facebook. You can find us on our website, on every podcast platform out there.
YouTube.
On YouTube, LinkedIn. Andrew takes care of putting in LinkedIn and all that, and Facebook
Yeah.
Live as well. So we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Enjoyed it.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.